Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lily, and I'm so happy that you are here with me today. In today's video, I am going to be altering some junky junk mail envelopes, and I'm going to repurpose them by making these beautiful and vibrant pockets for my junk journals. I have created a few, but I thought I would bring you along and show you my process. Now, I have been collecting these envelopes for a very long time. In fact, I have one of them in this little bunch that dates back to 2007, you guys. I know. I'm not ready to use that one. I think I'll hold on to it and just keep it in the archives for a little bit. As soon as I go through all my junk mail, you guys, everything. I go through all my mail every single day and I separate the envelopes. The very first thing that I do is I very carefully cut one of the ends, and it's usually the opposite end of the window, just like I did right here to show you how I open it. And this way it preserves the junk mail envelope. I didn't rip into it, and I just put it away in a separate box where I have all of my junk mail envelopes, and I just save it, and then I pull from that little box. I just showed you the envelope from 2007. Yeah. These go way back. Some of these, go way back. So I have to hurry and make projects with them, or else the collection will just, keep growing. The second thing that I do is I trim it down, and I don't measure, but I trim it about 2 inches above the windows, because that'll give me enough room to create that little flap as you see on the ones on the left-hand side. And then I just clip the corners, and I do eyeball it, and I try to get it as even as possible, and it works out just fine. This is the method that works for me, but if you want to be more precise with your cutting, then you do what works best for you. I hope that my process brings you influence or influences you so that you can, not influences, inspires you to create your own projects with your collection of junk mail envelopes. It's a great way to repurpose these, and they are perfect for adding pockets in the junk mail envelopes. I am currently working on 4 new junk journals. Did I say junk journals or junk mail? Oh my gosh, I'm getting all tongue-tied, but I am working on 4 new junk journals, and I am making junk mail pockets to place inside of them. Okay, now that we're all clear and on the same page, so to show you, I am just trimming 3 of these down, but I'm only going to work on 2 of them, just to give you an idea as to how I create these. They go by fairly quick because it's really just trimming the upper half of the junk mail envelope and just creating a super easy pocket, you guys. This is not a new project. I have worked on these in the past. Many others have also worked on these, so this is not a new concept. Here is one that I worked on about 3 years ago. In fact, I have a video on how I created this one using packaging and scraps of paper, and I will link that video down below so you can see that one from way back 3 years ago. So I'm basically doing the same thing, but I am using much more vibrant colors, and I'm also going to use those cute little mixed media birds that I made the other day. If you would like to see how I create those cute little birdies, that video will be linked down below. Everything will be linked down below. So if you want more information as to the other videos, because I'll use my hands, my finger, and I will point down. That just means that there is more information in the description area below. So if you just open that up, it'll take you to other links where you can watch other videos and a whole bunch of other information, you guys. The next thing that I did is I pulled out some of my scrapbooking paper, and this is an 8.5 by 11 floral paper from the Paper Studio, which is a brand that you find at Hobby Lobby. And I am measuring the width of my pocket envelope so I can trim down a section of this floral paper that will slide into the pocket. This is optional. You could leave the inside. I'm actually lining the inside of the pocket. And that's the optional part. You don't have to line the inside, but because it has a window, I want it to look pretty inside. And so I am just going to slide that floral paper into the pocket so that you have a pretty background to look at. Completely optional. You don't have to do this. If you work on a project like this, you can use any kind of paper you want. Dictionary paper, vintage paper, music paper, floral paper, whatever scrapbook paper you have to line the inside. This envelope happens to be 4 1/8 of an inch wide, and so I trimmed the paper to 4 inches wide so it will slide easily into the pocket. And I am going to glue it down so it stays in place, but it doesn't need glue all the way down. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on that back flap, and that is enough adhesive to keep that lining paper put. And then I'm just going to trim the excess, follow that line of the flap, and then just trim right across it, and also trim the little corners down following the edges of the flap. Pretty easy to do. Again, super optional, or use whatever paper. I have a lot of scrapbooking paper. I've mentioned it many times that I am a scrapbooker. I have been scrapbooking for, I don't know, 25, 27. Let me see. My youngest is 27. Is she 27? Yeah, she was born in 1995. Oh my gosh, she's going to be 28 years old. Wait till I tell her. Wait till she finds out. She's going to freak out. So I have been scrapbooking for over 28 years. Oh, yes, I have. So I have a lot of papers. And even though I have a lot of papers that are over 20 years old, it doesn't stop me from purchasing new papers. You guys, I know I have a problem, but I love pretty papers. And I love pretty papers that are on sale. I like those. I love especially. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing with this other strip. And I trimmed it down to 4 inches wide as well. This pocket happens to be the same width, which is nice because then I don't have to worry about too many measurements. And even if it was a little bit smaller, I'd still use it in there, because all I really want is for the lining paper to show through the windows. And again, gluing it down and trimming off that excess. I made a bunch of these, you guys, off camera. I'm only showing you 2 of the ones that I have completed. But off to my left, I have maybe a dozen more, and I will show you up ahead all the different pattern papers that I used as part of the lining, and then embellished it with the same birds, and then used word stickers and then a few more embellishments. But we will get there step by step. This isn't a long process video, so stick around with me until the end so you could see everything that I'm going to show you. Now, you can also tell from these completed envelopes that I didn't collage. Let me rephrase. I collaged only a little bit on the face of the envelopes, and only to cover up some of the markings from the junk mail envelopes. I didn't want to collage the entire thing. And that's why I say that these are very easy to create in a minimal amount of time, because we are not spending too much time collaging the entire envelope. There's really no need for it. Some of that blank space doesn't need to be covered up, because I'm also going to use some sprays that are going to add more dimension and more texture or character to the envelope. So bottom line, you don't need to collage the whole thing. Now I'm taking some vintage music paper and just tearing a few strips to cover up some of those markings. Now I have worked on these pockets before where I do collage the entire area, but I realized that just isn't necessary. A little bit goes a long way. Now, the very first thing that I reached for in the other envelopes were my scraps. But I went through all of my music paper scraps, my book page scraps, and a few other floral papers and scrapbooking papers from my scrap box. So I use most of those. That is the reason why I grabbed a new sheet of the vintage music paper and also a new sheet of the floral paper. But this is the best way to use up scraps. And I'm using up a lot of scraps. And then when I grab pages like this, I create more scraps. But I tend to go through my text pages and also the music paper a lot faster than all the other ones. And you can see here just little bits and pieces here and there. That center music paper looks kind of chopped at the top, and I don't like the way it has like this blunt cut. So I'm just going to tear a little paper and add it so it doesn't look so blunt, so straight across. And it's just an itty bitty little piece of paper that I'm going to add. And it just flows better when it's at that angle. At least that's how I saw it. And that's it. Now it's not so blunt. It almost looks like exposed brick. You know, when you've seen painted buildings or stucco buildings, and the stucco or the paint starts chipping off some areas of the building, and then the brick becomes, or it's exposed. That is what this reminded me of. As if the music paper was an underlying layer, which is being exposed due to the top layers, flaking off. Anyway, that's what this reminded me of. I'm going through my scrap bag that is on the left-hand side, and I picked up some text scrapbooking paper, and to balance it out, I'm just going to add a little piece of it in the upper left-hand corner of the pocket. So collage, however you like, whatever makes you happy, you guys. This makes me very happy. Working with junk mail envelopes, using up my scraps, and creating ephemera or embellishments for my junk journals. It makes me very, very happy. This one was easy because I'm only going to cover the left-hand side of this pocket. And that piece that I tore off is going to work perfectly. Now you'll notice how some of the collage papers are overlapping the window a little. And that kind of adds for an interesting look. I really like the way that turns out. So we don't have to be precise around the window. It kind of emphasizes the fact that we are working with junk and we are creating beautiful things from junk, and it's okay if it looks junky. Beautiful junk. They're now treasures. And I love how that overlaps over the window. The music paper juxtaposed with the floral paper looks very, very nice, you guys. I've been watching a lot of interior design videos. Interior design is my passion. I have loved interior decorating since I was a very little girl. And one of my biggest regrets in life, you guys, is not pursuing that as a profession, because I just love it so much. So now I love watching other people create. But I've taken a lot of what I've learned about interior design and interior decorating, and it's really helped in the way that I create my junk journals, especially when we are mixing up patterns, florals and stripes, or geometric shapes on how they play along with different shapes and not textures, but designs. Anyway, I love watching those, and I love taking some of those ideas from the interior design and decorating and bringing it and adding it over into my junk journal creations. They kind of go hand in hand because at the end of the day, it's all art, all of it. It's all art and design and pattern and working with patterns and with colors. And I love all of it, you guys. Okay, so now that we have finished collaging our envelopes, look at how beautiful those look. Notice how there is a lot of navy blue in those, which is a color that I don't use very often. I struggle with it, but these floral papers are beautiful, and so that also helped with me working and bringing in that navy blue as a color. Okay, I am going to splatter some paint, some spray paints onto these envelopes. And I didn't think too much about the colors. I just reached for a couple of sprays. And I'm going to lightly mist and lightly spray over the envelopes. What I want is to create some droplets as well. So when I squeeze that trigger, I'm being very gentle to try to get some drops and not so much of a spray. You can see how it is working. And then I just shake off the excess onto the envelope. And I used a towel underneath because I have been playing with sprays a lot lately, and I have made a complete mess of the area. I have splatters, you guys, all over the place. So I'm just trying to be more careful. I would use my splatter box, but it is holding a bunch of scrap papers. So this is the next best thing. This is a Prima marketing spray, which I've had for many, many years. And it is a beautiful, I think this one's called Cotton Candy, a shade of pink, and it is beautiful. Also, lightly spritzing and trying to get some droplets out of it. Always clean your nozzle, your spray nozzle, when you are done spraying. And this makes it so that it doesn't clump up on that little spray head. And now I am going to let these dry. I can't use my heat gun because the heat gun will melt the plastic on the window. I found that out the hard way. Common sense, you guys, but I was lacking that for a moment. I had a brain lapse and I melted one of the windows off. So don't use your heat gun here. Just be patient and let it air dry if you are going to use inks or sprays on this. It only took about 20 minutes, but I edited that part out. So now that it is dry, I reached over for my cute little mixed media birds. I made a whole bunch of these in different colors. It was so fun to get messy and use all kinds of different sprays that I had for my collection. Again, if you want to see that video, it is linked down below. It is called Mixed Media Birds. And now I'm grabbing some that will coordinate well with the other colors. And I really like the way the little bluebirds look. So I am going to fussy cut a couple of the bluebirds to use as an embellishment on the pockets. So I'm just going to put these away. So cute, you guys. I love those little birds. And I've made so many of them that I've got plenty to use in future projects. If you don't have these little birds, you can use any other embellishment on your pockets. You can use flowers or any other die cut, anything if you want to, or you can leave them as it is. You don't have to, you can layer it as much as you want, or you can leave it the way they are right now, just with the collage and the sprays, and that looks beautiful. So just quickly fussy cutting around these. It doesn't take very long. When I fussy cut, I hold the scissors in place with my right hand or the dominant hand, and then I turn the page with my less dominant hand. That makes it easier for fussy cutting. And next, I just glue that down. They look so stinking cute, you guys, those little birds. Notice how I repurposed some of that paper that I stamped the little birds on. That was my mixed media paper, and I had scribbles on the opposite side. Well, I wasn't going to let that go to waste, so I used the blank side to create my little birds. Nothing goes to waste, you guys. Does this make it a true junk journal? Because I'm using a lot of junky elements? I think so. A little bit of old, a little bit of junk, a little bit of new. That is what goes into my junk journals. I place an acrylic block over the little birds just so that they dry flat. But don't leave the acrylic block on there too long, because if the glue spews out a little bit, it's going to glue onto your acrylic block. When you go to remove it, it's going to lift some of the paper and tear it. So be careful with that. These are Heidi Swapp stickers, some of my most favorite ones. I love these and the Tim Holtz ones, but I've decided to use some of these on this project. By the way, I do have an Amazon affiliate link, which is down below. If you are interested in learning or seeing a lot of the products that I use on a daily basis, my Amazon affiliate link will have a list of my most used products and also a lot of the products that I use in this process video you will find in that Amazon link. If you have any questions about anything that I'm currently using, please leave me a comment down below and I'm happy to elaborate or provide you with as much information that you need so that you can get busy crafting. The stickers do have sticky on them, but I like to add a little bit more glue, you guys, to make sure that they don't fall off. I want them to be completely permanent. And then again, adding my little block on top just so that they dry flat. They don't curl up on the ends. I love how they are turning out. They're a little bit messy, a little bit mixed media, but I just love all of the color that is going on with these little pockets. Now I'm going to embellish the flap. Now I found this punch, you guys, at the thrift store. It was in a bag mixed in with other punches, and I had no idea what this was until I flipped it over and I saw that it was a heart shape, and it is one of the heart shapes which I absolutely love. I have a few other mini heart punches that I could have used, but this heart-shaped design is a little bit different. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to use it because it was probably part of a bigger punch machine. I have no idea what it goes to, but after I figured out what it was, I kind of DIY'd it myself. I'm like, I'm going to make this work. I love that little heart design, so I'm going to show you how I do that. So I reached for my jelly print folder. It's just a folder that I have, which contains a lot of my jelly print papers, actually just scraps, because I don't have any more full-size sheets. And I've been talking a lot about making more. I just get so easily distracted, you guys. Not enough hours in the day. Definitely not enough hours. And it has a little notch in there, just like a regular punch to thread your paper through. And that the top is kind of pokey, and I needed something that can help press it down, and so I had a wine bottle cork, and that is what I'm using to press it down to get my little punched hearts. And I also added the towel underneath just so it adds, so it doesn't make such a loud punching sound. So there you go. That's how I got my little hearts. Now I'm going to use some of these avocado dyed tickets, and I'm just going to create like this little cluster, and then I'm going to staple it. I had thought about gluing it, and you can do whichever you like. You can glue the pieces down, or you can staple them to the flap. I decided to staple it, and I'm just layering the two pieces and then holding them in the upper right hand and then stapling it in place. And the reason I decided to do this is to bring balance to the design. It kind of weighed heavy in the lower left-hand side because of the bird, and I felt it needed something in the upper right-hand side. And now I feel that the design it's more balanced this way. And I'm using my Tim Holtz tiny attacher to do this. If you don't have the tiny attacher, a regular stapler will work. Now I had this little flower just laying around. And so I thought, what would it look like if I staple that little flower to it? And I'll show you how that looks in just a moment. But I pulled in some of those other pockets that I've already created. These are not finished. They still need some of the word phrases and that little ticket and heart embellishment. But let's go through with them. Let's go through them really quick so you can see all the different designs that I am using. Oh, and this is the one that I chose to add the little flower. And I will grab a ticket for the background and then layer that flower, that paper flower, and then a little heart over it and staple it. It turns out okay. And I'm using it just because the flower just happened to be on my desk, and I thought, what if I used a flower to do this? And I'll show you what that looks in just a moment. And you could see it looks cute, you guys, and I like it, but I didn't love it. And so off camera, I took it apart because I didn't love it. I kid you not. Every single element that I create or that goes into my junk mail, I keep saying junk mail when I mean junk journal. Everything that goes into my junk journals, I have to love. When I look at it, I have to be in love with everything that I create. If I only like it, you guys, it's not going to pass. I am going to redo it. That's just the way I am. It could be cute and it could be nice, but if I don't love it, it's not going into my junk journals. Some of the sprays I used were, I used Tim Holtz sprays, Recollections, Heidi Swapp, Prima Marketing, Dilutions. Let's see what else. That's it. So if you want to spray and get messy, use whatever spray you have. I even have some DIY sprays that I made with Rit clothes dye. Yep, sure did. But I didn't use that here. Okay, and now, once you complete your little pocket, look at how perfect. You just slide in a tag, or look at this really cute note paper that I picked up at Dollar Tree. But now it's ready to be added to the junk journals. I love the way these turned out. And you can add as many things in that pocket as you like. Yes, they turned out so cute. You guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you so much. Let me know what you think down below. And if you like it, give me a thumbs up. You guys take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.